Likely, if the company was very sales driven, it would be difficult to run attribution and get a CMO measured according to attribution the first 100 days.
Hmm.
Because the first thing, as we spoke about, tracking has to come in place. So the
Hmm.
technology in the background, not even attribution technology, tracking, making sure that your UTM mappings are right, so you know
Hmm.
where your traffic is coming from, starting to do some experimentation on your paid channels, starting to write some of the blogs and see how do they perform purely on traffic to start with and
Hmm.
on form submissions. For that, you don't need attribution. Google Analytics is enough. Or if you want an alternative and understand how B2B companies perform on engagement, you can use Dreamdata for free for that. So
Hmm.
kind of start with traffic, see where they're coming from, get the foundation done. And
Hmm.
when you know and see some of the basics for that, you will start to build the data on top of it. Your
Okay.
CRM has to work. For you to have a proper attribution, CMO
Hmm.
even has to know how the pipeline is looking. How are we
Hmm.
measuring the salespeople? How are our prospects moving throughout the pipeline? Because if you start measuring a CMO according to attribution for, I don't know, sales qualified leads, well, we
Hmm.
need to talk about what is a sales qualified lead. When is the time that sales call it a sales qualified lead? When is it that they're dropping off? So those
Hmm.
measurements are going to be so different depending on the company's maturity as well. And
Sure.
to begin with, you don't need attribution. You need attribution when you got some basic data in place. There are so many
Okay.
prospects we're talking with where it's like, please go back and do some homework before
The
we actually
fundamentals.
engage. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then later, then you'll figure out, depending on your market, like paid works really well for a lot of companies. For
Hmm.
SaaS companies, review sites is something golden. So our CMO every single quarter is collecting reviews from G2, Capterra, because we know it works. We know
Hmm.
that's where our like buying ready prospects are coming through. And if
Hmm.
we're there, we're easy to find. So then you
Hmm.
can break it down to specific points. Are you going to measure me on how paid is performing? Are you going to measure me on how our review sites are performing? Are we getting clients?
Hmm.
Are we closing them through that? So there are so many moving parts depending on the business, but tracking has to be in place to start with. And then you can put the layers of various channels to test.